with us?
You have Mia tonight, but I am here, yes.
Oh, Mia, then there's no reason for any other prospective attendees to be allowed in. So you may join them if you wish.
Okay, I should bring them all in to talk. There are 4 people in the waiting room. You want me to add them all in?
I think so. Is there any reason? I don't think there's any reason why the board can't discuss any other business after we finish the 2 cases which are on the agenda. In the meanwhile, uh, and, or maybe I should wait till everyone comes up.
Okay, all attendees are now able to unmute themselves should they wish to.
Very well. Thank you, Mia. All those who are present, there is a quorum of the zoning board, and there are 2 cases to be heard, and we will take them in numerical order. The first of which is case 2140. That's the application of Linda Henke for special permit under General Laws, Chapter 48, Section 6, and under Orleans zoning bylaw, Sections 164-43 and 164-44, page 5A, and also 164-21A, note 5, specifically for lot coverage exceeding 4,000 square feet. The applicant is proposing to construct a new garage and greenhouse, and that's property would be located at 17 Uncle Mark's Way, map 5, parcel 83. Is there any member of the board who's had any communication with the applicant or any of the applicant's agents which ought to be disclosed to the board or would otherwise constitute a conflict of interest? There's no response. Therefore, I declare that the board is impartial. And considering this application will be myself, Mr. Mulligan, Mr. Law, and Ms. Eicholt and Mr. Cole, consisting of 5 members. Our practice has been to remind the public to allow all members present, whether or not they're voting, to inquire and to discuss, perhaps not to vote. Then in that case, then we will proceed. Who is speaking for Ms. Henke? Is there a, can we see the application to see who filed the application on behalf of the applicant?
It says Robert Chiarello.
Very well. And Mr. Chiarello, can you identify your interest in the application? I think that I'm not hearing anyone speaking for the applicant, Linda Henke. Therefore, let's proceed for the time being. See, someone is calling in to case number 2141. That is the application of 261 Tonson LLC. That's for special permit, and that's under General Laws, Chapter 48, Section 6, and under the Orleans bylaw, Sections 164, 43, and 164, 44, page 5A again, under 164-22, Section 6, for total lot coverage exceeding 4,000 square feet. That means building coverage, I think. The applicant is proposing to construct a pool house with dimensions of 1,200 square feet, as well as a 12 by 48 foot covered connector. This property is located at 261 Onset Road, map 12, parcel 119, and I'll repeat. Again, my question, whether any member of the board has had any oral or written correspondence or communications with the applicant or any of the applicant's agents concerning the application, the subject of which ought to be disclosed to the board, the public, or would otherwise constitute a conflict of interest.
Mr. Chairman, this is Emily Van Giesen. I will need to recuse myself for this case.
Very well. Then otherwise there's no positive response. So I declare the following 5 members to consider this application. Myself, Mr. Mulligan, Mr. Wall, Ms. Eichold, and Mr. Cole. And Mr. Klink, are you going to proceed?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I have video, but the video is not working for whatever reason. I don't know if the administrator has to enable that.
Mia? I'm asking Mia to come on. Mr. Klink,
Hi, what can I do?
Mr. Klink, for the applicant, which has video that he wishes to display on the screen.
Sure, just give me one moment. I'm going to bring him in as a panelist and then allow him to, does he want to share his screen?
Yes, that would be fine.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, he's in and he can share his screen if he would like to.
Very well. You may proceed, Mr. Klink. This is, I've seen this. This is the plan, the plot plan drawn by Mr. Brady. Mr. Klink?
He's muted.
Oh, how do I?
There we go. Okay. Can you hear me all now?
Yes.
Okay. Again, my name is Tim Klink of 261 Tonson Road, LLC. I'm the owner and builder of this particular property. When we first started construction of this home, it's a single family residence. We had put it on the market and have procured a buyer for the home. And the buyer now wishes to make some modifications to the property. What she wishes to do is the construction of a pool house to the rear of the property, connected by a covered connector that will come in from the rear garage door to the pool house itself. We have 2 lots on this property that have since been combined via deed. So the plan that you guys see in front of you actually shows lot 1 and 2, but it's actually 1 lot for all intents and purposes now. That's been done and recorded at the registry. So that's why you see that kind of dotted lot line that goes through the property there. The entire lot is around 60,189 square feet. So by the addition of the pool house, it puts us at about 7.5% of site coverage, but we're at 4,500 and change square feet of site coverage with the addition of the pool house and the connector. So we're here tonight seeking approval of our site coverage. So I will be available for any questions.
That sounded pretty simple. But the way I understand it, usually there'd be a legend somewhere on the plan. I think it was in the narrative on your application. You end up with a total building coverage of in excess of 4,500 square feet. Is
We're at 4,567 square feet.
right, and this is. Uh, Can you explain the genesis of the project? You already were permitted for the building in front?
Correct. There's an existing dwelling on the property that we went before the historic over a year ago and was granted permission. They actually instituted a demo delay on the home for a period of time. When that demo delay expired, we proceeded with tearing down the property and started construction on the single family dwelling, which is the main dwelling in the front. The main dwelling and the pool were always part of the original building permit, but part of the original building permit, we added on a front farmer's porch, but that still kept us under the 4,000 square feet. Now, when we add on the connector and the pool house, that puts us over the 4,000 square feet when you add up the farmer's porches and all the garage and all the site coverage that you have. That's how we get to the 4,567 square feet of site coverage that's there now.
The connector, then, if members of the board, the connector is, well, describe the connector. The way I understand it, it would be in the nature of a canopy running from.
Yeah, so let me go to those drawings here. The purpose of this home, this is not, I actually read one of the letters that an abutter had sent in who is objecting to the project. This is not a rental home. I know that's been kind of a problem in town and large homes being built for the purpose of renting. The woman who's purchasing this home actually lives around the corner in Orleans and has for 25 years. She's moving in here with her two children, 8 and 12 years old. The idea is of the pool house is to serve as a pool house for, obviously, for functions of the pool, but also there'll be a bedroom in there and a full bath for her parents to live as well. And they're not going to be living there full time, but when they come and visit, they can stay in the pool house, and then she has the main house for her. The connector is to provide a covered connection between the main house and the pool house. We can't have two dwellings on the property. If we didn't have the connector, we would have technically two dwellings, which we cannot have. And she's not looking for this to be a rental property, so it doesn't fall under the guidelines for a rental. So basically the connector is going to be, it'll have poured sonotubes in the ground. It'll have posts that'll come up. It'll have a covered roof to it. It'll be a physical structure anchored to the ground, then anchored to both the main house and the pool house. So if you want to go to the pool house, you can go out from the sliders in the rear of the property, or you can go out to the garage and go out under the connector. It also gives us some privacy because one wall of the connector will have lattice work on it. So it kind of provides privacy for the pool between the main house and the pool house. Also provides some screening to our neighbors in the back as well.
I understand then that you still plan to have an outdoor shower attached to the principal residence.
Yes, on the rear of the principal residence, we have large sliders that come out. Our bulkhead is there. Our outdoor shower will be there. And then you'll have separation to the pool deck, and then the pool house in the rear. And we've sited all of this so that if you're coming down Tonsett Road, you will see the connector and the pool house on the right side. But as you're coming down Tonsett Road from the other way, it would all be screened off. We have a large 60,000 square foot lot, and the home is centered directly in the middle of the lot with the pool house and everything behind that. On the rear of the pool house will be the pool equipment. So that'll be in the most unobtrusive, hidden way for all the abutting neighbors. We've talked to the neighbor to the rear, who actually has two lots behind us. And that equipment is far enough away where it's not a concern for him.
Any member of the board wish to inquire?
Just a question about the main house that's under construction is, did I remember it correctly, is 6 bedrooms?
It's 4 bedrooms.
4, okay, thank you.
Main house is 4. We'll have 1 bedroom in the pool house, and we have a 6-bedroom septic that's in the ground. But the Board of Health has only approved us for 5 bedrooms currently.
Okay, thank you.
I have one question, certainly there's a minimum, but as a part of this particular proposal, I haven't heard anything that satisfies the requirements of 16444 with respect to a general permit. There's at least items on there that usually are addressed in narrative by the applicant.
I can go through those 8 items if you like. They're page 11 in my application.
Haven't seen that, but okay.
So would you like me to go through them?
Yes.
Yes,
So the first one is adequacy of the site. The site is a 60,000 square foot, 60,189 square foot lot in a residential zone. The primary use will be residential. There will be no secondary use. We have a site coverage of 7.5%. And so we feel the site is more than adequate enough to handle our site coverage. The site is level. We have no wetlands issues on the property. We have no zoning issues on the property. We meet all of the setbacks that are required from the building. We also meet septic requirements as well for the 5-bedroom home. The impact of traffic flow and safety. This is a single family home. You're going to have a single mother and 2 children living there, potentially, her parents staying there for a short period of time. So you probably have 3 or 4 cars, off and on that would be accessing the site. We have a large circular driveway on the property, so when you come in off of Tonsa, you'll be able to circle around, plus a 2-car garage. So we don't feel that the addition of the pool house and the connector will add to the traffic that already exists or currently is there now on Tonsa Road. As I mentioned, she already lives now off of Brick Hill, so she already goes by the property on a regular basis. Impact on the neighborhood and the visual character. The old home that was here was a Greek Revival farmhouse. The new home that's here now kind of mimics that style. It's our take on a Cape Cod farmhouse. It has kind of a Greek facade to it, has a front farmer's porch, and the pool house will have the same finishes as the main house. The main house has black roof, black gutters, black windows, the white trim, and gray shingling, and the pool house will have those same finishes as well, so the 2 structures look similar to each other. Number 5 is adequacy of method of sewage disposal and the source of water and drainage. As I mentioned before, we have an approved septic plan for 6 bedrooms. That's been signed off by the health department, and we're having 5 bedrooms in the main house. Well, 4 bedrooms in the main house and 1 bedroom in the pool house. Source of water is town water. There's no drinking water wells on the property. There will be an irrigation well on the property to service the landscaping. Drainage, we have installed subsurface drainage for our basement drains. All of our roof drains and our surface drainage has all been contained on the property. We have no drainage that will go off the property to the public rights of way or the abutting parcels. Adequacy of utilities and public services. We have a 400 amp electrical service that comes in from Tonsett Road to feed the main house. That's an underground service from a pole that's on our side of the street that will service the main house and the pool house. The property will be serviced by natural gas. We are extending a gas main down Tonsett Road to this property to service both the main house and the pool house. And it's currently serviced by public water. We have a brand new public water line installed on the property. Noise and litter. Basically, the noise on this property would be what you would expect in a typical single family home. It's not a home that's going to be rented out as a summer rental. It's not a hotel. It's not being used for any of those purposes. So typical noise would occur of a family living there, and in the summer, a couple of kids in the pool and barbecuing and those type of things. Impact of groundwater quality, recharge volume, and water quality of coastal and freshwater bodies. We have no coastal and freshwater bodies that are near our property. The nearest one would be Town Cove, which would be down off of Gibson, which is about 3/4 to a mile away. Groundwater quality, this was already a previously developed site, and we're just continuing that development today with the new structures that we're building here now.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions?
I have a question. as a relatively new member, and maybe someone can just, this is background information. So you can't have two dwellings on the property, so there's a connector that makes it one dwelling. Is that correct?
From my standpoint, yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so that's sort of a,
Right, and the roof structure, Lynn, of the connector counts as as if it were, you know, a full room and, an area.
okay, I understand that. And then my other question is the coverage requirements. The purpose of the coverage, I'm assuming, is those, you know, the coverage limits is to maintain sort of the character of a neighborhood and not have something that's just overbuilt for the amount of land on it. Is that correct?
You know, the zoning bylaw really doesn't explain the reasoning, but I think that we've accepted that as the reason. That this was, the 4,000 square feet was to put some kind of limit, however arbitrary, on the footprint of any residential structure.
Okay.
Lynn, other municipalities have dealt with this, some more recently than others, with complicated formula. But this is our zoning bylaw. The
Okay.
4,000 square foot cap.
Okay.
And that doesn't have any relation to the, except for the percentage of coverage. Once you get beyond that particular problem, it has no relation, the 4,000 square feet has no relation to the overall size of the lot.
Ah, okay.
See,
So,
so an applicant will come in and look for relief using the argument that in a building in excess of 4,000 square feet, even say 4,100 square feet, is otherwise situated on the lot of sufficient, of certain size that it doesn't have, not that the 4,000 square foot is arbitrary. No one claims that, but they do claim that it fits in, so to speak, without doing violence to the zoning bylaw as a whole. That's the pitch.
okay.
I didn't actually hear that tonight, but that's the general background.
Okay, thank you.
Now, I minimized I wanted to talk about the letter. It appears in the form of an objection by Dr. Simon and Mr. Johnson. So I queued it up and I printed it and I'm looking at it. The thing is, I can't seem to get back and see everyone else on the, I can't get a screen. As long as everyone hears me, that's fine. Has anyone have any comment about the objection of the neighbors who are at 266 Tonsett Road? Their objection would be sensible, and they're close enough to this project to be affected. So,
I do, but I can let the board go first.
My only comment on that was, having seen the site, understand where the neighbor is and what the conditions were, it seems to me at this point that what she's doing is predispositioning that there may be problems. And again, if it's a single woman with 2 kids, as has been indicated by, let's say, the applicant, I guess I would consider the comments that were made to somewhat be spurious. I don't find any significant impact to them myself.
Thank you, George. I wouldn't call them spurious, but we know, as a matter of fact, that pools can be put in as a matter of right and without any permitting by the zoning board. And fact of the matter is that when there is a pool, it can be used, and you expect parties with pools, and we expect parties at night with pools, and it may not make any difference whether these are parties with guests or parties of occupants. I don't know any real way to control that. I don't see where the Board of Appeals should be concerned or anticipate, as you say, George, a problem with noisy parties. That goes with having a pool, I'm afraid. Anybody have a better way of putting that?
If you don't mind, if I can comment on the letter.
Yes, please.
Prior to us starting this project, one of the things we did was reach out to the neighbors to discuss what we were doing with them. And we do that as typical with any build that we do. And I actually had a personal conversation with Greg Johnson directly last May when we tore down the home that was there. And he had nothing but great things to say to me. So when I received this letter, it was kind of surprising. But I imagine his letter is probably skewed a little bit by some other activities that have happened in town where people come in, purchase properties solely for the purpose of renting. They maximize them, they put them on their Airbnb, they put 15, 20 people in there and let the town regulate that. Because this property is owned by an LLC, that's an LLC that we formed to purchase the property and build it as a spec build. It's not a business. At the end of the day, this property is being sold to a current resident of Orleans. So she's not going to rent it out as a hotel. It's not going to be a business operation. So when you read his letter here, he asks if this is a house or a hotel and why it's a business in a residential zone. None of that is correct. And at the end of the day, it's a big improvement to the property, although you're seeing a lot of development on Townsend Road, and I can understand his concern. He's got a 1,200 square foot house on a 15,000 square foot lot. The irony of site coverage is his site coverage is greater than mine, but that is because his lot is smaller than mine. So I kind of found his letter to be a little bit, with some falsehoods in it, because I explained to him the purpose of this project back in May when we started it.
The letter has dated October 12th, 2020, will be received into evidence and maintained as part of the file. Is there any other discussion or inquiry by any member of the board of Mr. Klink? And in fairness, let me ask whether any other person present at this virtual meeting has any comments either in favor of or in opposition to the project. I hear no response. Then I will close the hearing for the taking of evidence and ask the sense of the board.
I'll move to approve the variance.
Special permit.
Mr. Mulligan moves it's a special permit. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Watt. Is there any discussion on the motion? Then we will vote and I'll poll the board. Mr. Marnick in favor of the motion. Mr. Mulligan.
Yes.
Mr. Wall,
Yes,
Ms. Eichel,
Yes.
and Mr. Cole.
Yes.
Ms. Van Giesen is excused from voting. Therefore, the motion carries unanimously 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Quinn.
Great, thank you very much.
Now, may I ask again, is there anyone representing Linda Henke in case number 21-4? Members of the board, I'm not inclined to consider the application for the failure of anyone to appear. Any thought?
Mr. Marnick,
Yes?
Mr. Chirillo had reservations about how well he'd be able to do this. I told him to follow the instructions that were on the site, so I'm not sure what happened.
Oh, you mean technically how to participate in the meeting?
Correct. How to
Oh.
participate in the meeting.
All right.
He's in the waiting room. The 774 phone number is his number.
Can you come in, please, Mia? Is that who was speaking?
He's able to speak because he's a-
What's the
panelist.
phone command mute?
I'm sorry, Matt?
He might need the phone command to unmute. Don't you have to *6 or something to unmute from a phone?
It looks like he just left the waiting
Looks like
room.
he's disappeared.
Yeah, he's gone from the attendees. I don't know if you want to move on or wait for him to come back.
We're now 33 minutes into the meeting. There's really no further business to come before it, except that continuing discussion concerning the method by which the town of Orleans and particularly the zoning board ought to be dealing with special permit applications. The considerations are whether each application ought to be considered as standalone and whether there should be a further inquiry as to whether an application lines up previous decisions of the board in similar cases. I have thought about this since the last two meetings we discussed this general issue, and I have now reconsidered. And I think that as long as the zoning board is not considering or is facing any
Hello?
that we are free to talk even amongst ourselves between meetings, or we could talk as a continuing agenda item
Hello?
openly.
Hello?
Hello, sir.
Hello?
Sir,
Bob Chirillo here.
very well. This is Michael Marnick, and are you proceeding on case number 2140?
Yes, sir, that's correct. And I would just, if I can just state for one moment, I listened to your entire proceedings, can you hear me all right?
I can hear you. Other members, I think.
Good. I listened to the entire proceedings, including case 2141. So I was here, but I kept saying hello, and for some reason, I guess you could not hear me.
No action was taken on 2140, sir. We just.
Well, I was hoping that some action would be taken.
That's fine. Present your case.
Well, the property is in a residential zone, and we're proposing, as you can see from the plan, to build a garage, a two-car garage, and it's a 52,445 square foot property. The garage addition is 516 square feet, and there's a greenhouse in the back that's 192 feet. And adding that to the existing total as shown on the site plan prepared by Schofield Brothers, it brings us up to 4,465 square feet. So the existing lot coverage is about 7.2%, and the proposed lot coverage is 8.5%. There's a 5-bedroom septic system, and there are 2 people. There are 2 dwellings on the property, 1 bedroom and 1 4-bedroom in the other. And Mrs. Henke is 1 person in the 4-bedroom main house, and her brother-in-law lives in the other existing building, and it's a 1-bedroom property. It will meet all of the proper setback requirements, and there are 2 cars on the property. There's no plumbing or heating that's planned in the greenhouse or in the garage. There is electrical to the garage, obviously, for life safety purposes and to operate the overhead garage door. There's a well on the property. There's no town water, and there's propane gas because there's no gas coming in off Uncle Mark's Way. It's not a seasonal residence; it's a year-round residence. I don't know what else to say. I think that covers the entirety of the project. I'm hoping you can hear me.
Yes, I can. But Mr. Chiarello, right now, on the existing dwelling, what is the building coverage in square feet?
The existing roofed over area is 3,757, and the garage adds 506. The garage adds 516 square feet, and the greenhouse adds 192. So that brings the 3,757 up to 4,465. So the existing lot coverage is about 7.2%, and the proposed lot coverage is 8.5%.
Very well. Any member of the board have any questions?
Taking a look at the, having been out to the property and taking a look at the site plan, I just question, where is the greenhouse? I noticed on your site plan, there is something in the right-hand corner called an accessory building. Is that where the greenhouse is going, or where is the greenhouse going?
The greenhouse is to the left of that, and it is on a plan from Schofield Brothers, and you should have that. It's set back about 31 feet from the Uncle Mark's Way, but it's right near. It's not far from that accessory building. You are correct.
Because the accessory building is done with dotted lines, as is the proposed garage, which, technically say that those are the things that are being proposed. Okay, but you're saying there is an additional accessory building plus the greenhouse.
No.
Sir, the accessory building, although it's shown with dotted lines, it is existing building. It is there now, you know?
Hidden in the trees. Okay.
Yeah, yes, sir. It's set back quite a bit, and it might be hidden in that nest of trees back there. But that is an existing building. That's not part of the application.
Okay.
I had a question. I actually could not tell whether the greenhouse was a part, I didn't see any place on the materials that the greenhouse counted as part of the roofed covered area, but you're saying it does, right?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, I have to admit that because it's just what we're calling it. It's a greenhouse. It'll be all glass, but it's roofed over and it's not habitable. There's no plumbing and there'll be no electric out there.
Okay.
Well,
And the greenhouse is 192 square feet.
If this were to be considered, then perhaps there should be a revised drawing which would indicate the location of the greenhouse and then better calculations that are presented in the corner defining what is the coverage percentage-wise and total.
Yeah.
I think that drawing is there, sir. I'm sorry I can't be there, but I think that drawing is there.
Well, I could see that the plan drawn by Schofield is a little confusing. What is determined as an accessory building is located on the westerly corner of the lot. Is that correct?
I think, sir, that's actually on the southerly side of the lot, and where they show existing building is actually the westerly side, and Uncle Mark's Way shown at the top of the drawing is parallel to Nauset Beach.
Okay, Uncle Mark's Way takes a jog, and the
Yes, sir.
northeasterly boundary, according to this plan, is 220.17 feet. There is a crosshatched rectangle marked accessory building. What I need to know, and the board needs to know, is that the greenhouse?
Mr.
No,
Mark,
it's not the greenhouse, sir.
Okay,
I think-
Tom?
I think,
Mr. Chiarello sent me an updated site plan, which I sent to Stacy and CC'd you on, and thought it would be distributed to the board.
Okay,
Actually, it was sent by an email yesterday, but the plan does have the greenhouse, but drops the accessory building.
No.
So there's only one on the new revised plan. The greenhouse is indicated, but the accessory building disappears.
All right.
well, that
I'm seeing them
is
both
not,
on there.
that elimination does not show on my drawing.
Well,
That's the plan I would like to put on the screen if we can. Then we'll be talking apples and apples. Lynn, do you have that plan that, the most recent one that they're referring to?
I evidently don't.
Okay.
you know what? I'm
If I'm
sorry.
allowed
I'm
to
sorry.
share it, I can put it up.
Actually, I'm sorry. It does have both of them. I stand corrected. It's my mistake. I'm looking at this on my phone and it's hard to see the plan. I apologize, sir. The revised plan does have both the accessory building and the proposed greenhouse.
Oh, that's good.
And then on the far right side, it lists all the square footages.
I did have that, but I just wanted to make sure that I don't see an actual square footage of greenhouse on the last plan of the Schofield brothers that in my possession.
Yeah, it says 192 square feet. It's on the
Okay.
lower right-hand
All
corner.
right. All right. Does that satisfy?
I do have it on my phone here. I just assumed it was the same as we had. My apologies too.
Bob Shirello here. Yes, 192 is correct.
Okay. Now,
I think we're on the same page.
good. Are there any other questions, members of the board? Is there anyone present at this virtual meeting wishing to speak in favor of or in opposition to this application? There's no response. Then I think we can close the application and close the hearing for the taking of evidence, and I'll ask the sense of the board. I think, did I designate Emily Van Giesen as the fifth member, or did I designate you, Matt?
I believe Emily's up on this one. I was on the last one.
Okay. Very well. Now I'll ask the sense of the board. There's no opposition by anyone. Any neighbor.
Not having reviewed again the site and what he presented, so long as the accurate drawing is part of the record, I certainly have no problem. I would be in favor.
I think it's a relatively benign project.
Mhm.
I'm absolutely fascinated by the fact that an observatory exists on the plan.
Yeah, me too.
Then I need we'll entertain a motion to approve the application.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
And Ms. Eichel, second. Any discussion on the motion? Then we'll poll the members of the board. Mr. Marek in favor, Mr. Mulligan,
Yes.
and Mr. Waugh,
Yes,
and Ms. Eichel,
Yes.
and Ms. Van Giesen.
Yes.
And Mr. Cole will be recorded as present. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Chiarello.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. While we were
Sorry
trying,
sorry for the electronic confusion.
no, that's fine. We're glad we were able to hear you. While we were waiting to tee up case number 2140, I was discussing our ongoing, not so philosophical discussion about the treatment of applications. To some extent, even tonight was a microcosm of that. Both applicants were seeking for relief under the same subsection of the zoning bylaw. Previously, we have been dealing with properties encroaching on coastal banks, and increasingly we are concerned with possible inconsistent results. And I'm willing to move forward and open up an orderly discussion, not necessarily tonight, but in the future, so that we will be acting in a consensus anyway. As I mentioned before, we haven't had any kind of a, not a problem, but the discussion hasn't really arisen till just recently during my incumbency on the board. But I am increasingly concerned that perhaps a better course would be to either find a way to clarify the zoning ordinance so that applicants can have some predictable results when they're applying, when they're going through the permitting process. And we have more consistency in determining results from the applications so that there won't be inconsistent or contradictory decisions. So I'll do and move and facilitate anything that the members of the board think.
Mr. Chairman, why, oh, go ahead, Tom. Why are you putting off the discussion? He's calling for a discussion tonight or to schedule it some other time?
I don't think, I would rather have the whole board involved, Jerry.
No.
You know, or if I could see that it's the sense of the board that we proceed, then I think I need to structure that involves more than just the zoning board. It involves the town planner, maybe the planning board.
Yeah, well, I agree that with the whole board. Mr. Taub had strong feelings or expressed some concerns anyway at the last
Yeah.
meeting. And I think he deserves to be here for the discussion.
I think so. Tom?
I just thought maybe I should excuse myself from the discussion, that's all.
Well, that's fine. You're kind of a fringe player. The idea.
If you don't mind, I don't mind. I'm not sure.
No, but the idea, I think what I've been thinking is that the further clarification that we have on decisions would enable your underlying decision on the permitting applications to be facilitated. You would be, the people would know what's likely to happen. That was my thinking.
Mhm.
No way would it affect your discretion in what you do from day to day.
That's fine by me.
I think what I'll do then is this. There's nothing to prevent us from speaking or generally in small groups or one-to-one between meetings. I think what I will do is to some kind of an agenda and consideration as we go down this trail. I have another year or so, I think, on the board, and I'd like to leave it with a lot more sensible than when I came on. Is there any?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I reached out and asked for something like that, and it would help me as a new member a lot.
And I don't consider you to be a new member anymore, Lynn, and your reaching out has moved my thinking substantially, I'll tell you that. And that of the absent Mr. Taub. And Mr. Mulligan always provokes thought. And George and Matt, your total years on the board is significant, and I always, and so does the board, value your judgment. But and Emily, I appreciate everything that you have done as well. If there's no further business, however,
Thank you.
we can. Are you in your vehicle?
I am. Yes, I am. Well, I am in a vehicle. It is my friend's. I'm on the West Coast, and we're on our way to a real estate listing.
Very well. then we can entertain a motion to adjourn, I think.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
I.
Opposed? Then the motion carries unanimously. Good evening and thank you.
All right, everybody.